phone.
Okay. Gratitude, gratitude. Great day and welcome everyone to today's live. Today is the fourth day of the alleged 11th month of the year of our Lord 2025. And we are gathered here today as we typically are and have been for over 6 years, my people, to spread the good word that we are all born free.
You need a television show.
We are all born free, and it is only in our hearts that we may experience slavery. It is only through the control of our consciousness that we participate in our own disparagement. And it's time to come out of that. What was that?
Hallelujah. Indeed.
So we are grateful for today for several reasons, as usual. One of them being our brother-in-law, Trader Brigade, who has been living where Hurricane Melissa has recently devastated. However, he seems to be safe since he's on this call, and we are still looking to hear from some other friends that are also affected either directly or the family.
He's directly affected where he's located. Mhm.
Yes. So y'all reach out to y'all people in Jamaica, check in on them. All right. Other than that, again, great to see everyone on here. I hope you guys are sharing the good word, the good news. You do not have to correct your status to stand up for yourself. You are not born in sin and raised in inequity. Equity is actually all around us. Equity is our due process. You do not have to authenticate anything. You do not have to even cancel any adhesion contracts that you may feel still serve your interests. I know that's something that most of us don't talk about, but when we come into knowledge that we have been living out of alignment with our highest good pursuant to the law, since we have never read nor comprehended it for ourselves, people experience guilt for for what they've been doing. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You experience regret sometimes for how you may have gotten yourself into the situation. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When it has, for example, been confirmed what those vaccines actually do. And some of us realize that we have damaged our precious children due to our own ignorance and indoctrination.
Teach.
You know, it comes with guilt. People ask questions like, should I cancel my driver license? You know, should I burn up my social security card? Should I close my Fidelity account? And of course, the answer depends. That the answer to all of those questions is it depends. It depends where you are in your comprehension. It depends where you are in your threshold for pain. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
I remember when I first started trading, I learned this thing that says two things motivate pain or pleasure.
Oh man. Oh man. I am so motivated by pleasure that I avoid pain actively. This is one of the reasons that make me primarily a preemptive actor. Because I don't want to wait on somebody else's negative consequences when I know where I'm going. I know already what I wish to experience. So, this is why I appreciate each and every one of you here, because y'all bring that type of energy, all of you troublemakers. So I'm not going to be co-broadcasting on TikTok today. So if you have anybody that's hitting you up on TikTok, let them come into the room here on Zoom, because I am going to be moving around while I'm communicating on this call. I might, of course, even drop off because y'all already know we out in these woods. But we are gathered here on Tuesday, as we typically are every Tuesday, for our newbie questions and our open session. I know sometimes it's difficult for people who have more advanced questions to hold on to them until our meeting specifically about those more advanced subjects on Thursday and Friday. But I encourage you guys to um, bring your reviews, especially of writings, to those more advanced ones instead of today. But let's just keep it to some newbie questions if we can, and of course we can make it just open any question if you guys so choose. I see we got a lot of people in the room, but we only got a couple of hands up. Does that mean everybody else has figured everything else out? Everybody else figured everything else out, or y'all wait until the end as usual?
Hell to the
I got
no.
a question. I got a question for you.
No,
No, we got advanced questions.
Uh,
exactly. Exactly. I'm like, man, I got some stuff.
okay, well, let's get some of the newbie questions out of the way. Josette seems to be the first with the hand up.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So my son called me today and he's they're trying to deny workman's comp because he doesn't have a social security number. And they're saying they won't cover him without it. And mainly because there's no way to track his pay, which is interesting. But in the companies, see, he's a plumber, so the companies that he goes and wins the bids for, they won't even let him onto their job site without him having workman's comp. So I don't know what to tell him. I don't want him to get a social, and he doesn't want to get a social.
The entity that he's working to own, don't they have an EIN?
They do,
So why
but
not?
okay, okay. So they're considering that entity a subcontractor, and they're considering him a subcontractor. And I told him to use the EIN that I got him years ago, and he says that won't work because they want a social. He didn't quite explain to me why that EIN won't work, but he did say that they're pushing for the social security number
Okay, does
because
he have
I
anything
guess
in writing?
because he
Yeah, does he have any of this in writing?
the thing about the social security number from the from
Yeah,
State
yeah,
Farm.
yeah. Any of what
Okay.
they're demanding in writing.
I'm not sure, but I can ask.
Yeah, that's very important. Any Anytime you guys start saying what people are purported to have said, I always ask if it's in writing, because if you're not seeing the actual terms and words they're using, you are making your own inferences. So they might be accurate, but if I can't see it, I can't speak on it. Does that make sense,
And
guys?
yeah, it does. Because I asked him, I'm like, I really need to sit down and see
Because if they,
documents.
let's say they are, whether or not they're discriminating will depend on the actual words and terms they are using. Whether they're uh violating anything, actually, it depends on the exact words and terms they're using, and not our extrapolations of those words and terms. So
They are denying back-to-back audits, which get them their money. So I don't understand that
what I don't
part of it.
understand is when did your private right to work and contribute meaningfully to your community become exclusively regulated activity? Does anybody else have that question?
Ooh, that's good.
That's
Yes.
true. And I tried explaining that to him.
It's like a real question. It's not, I'm not asking hypothetically. I'm asking actually. This is something that people need the answer to. When did it become, I have to contract to be regulated, like it's mandatory for me to contract to be regulated, to trade my time and my energy and my talent to anything in exchange for anything?
When we got put in
Anything. Do
public
you guys
school and
understand what I'm
had
saying?
programs.
We usually know no other way.
That's not a good answer, but I appreciate that, for real. Sincerely, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to discourage discourse. But that this is how we always did it. This is what my mama used to do, daddy, that those are not actual answers to anything. Okay.
When
We need
you
to
joined,
find out,
when
because
you
remember,
when
these
you
people are,
joined the military, you did it.
oh, well, let I'm gonna need to see that in writing. uh I'm gonna need to see that it is that allegation, that rule, that whatever. I'm going to need to see what it specifically it says, where it says it. I'm gonna need all of that before I repeat any reason, because I don't know. I don't know when it became mandatory for a man or woman to agree, mandatorily agree to regulation in order to provide and exchange goods and services with others. Because it sounds to me, but I would still need to research to confirm, like discrimination. So, but we have to first answer that question. When did it become a mandatory act? If the answer is never, okay,
Their papers usually always say required.
there's one way to handle it. And if it was at a particular time line in history that we can that is documented, we could point to, we need to read that and ponder how it became applicable to that private right.
I've heard trading say one time something about like what are the provisions in the statute that permit the I can't remember how it goes, but it's similar to that.
Well, it's all person.
The way he reversed the statutory language and you know basically says what are the provisions in the statute that provide you the right to act upon, act against private rights.
Woo. The operative word there being private rights.
Yeah. And I can't
Because
remember
if you ask in general what gives them the authority, they're just going to point to the statutes themselves, as usual, the existence of them, right? Oh, look, it's written right here. I can bust out your window and drag you out of your car and all that other stuff that they do. It says it right here. They can point to a statute.
But there should be treaties connected to the Constitution that protects that at all times, right?
I disagree. I do not need man-made, written, and agreed upon by a small group of men treaties to protect my natural rights. It is my job to protect my natural rights by letting those men and women who arbitrarily and capriciously created some fiat organization of their own to leave me alone. You know how people repeat the Bible that says something about, oh, no man anything except to love your neighbor or something to that effect? That's all well and good. But how about you just leave me alone? How about we just love each other from like far apart? Right?
Yeah, it sounds like when there is a wrong experience or an injury experience, what we have to do is be honest. If we know that we've been raised or trained to even know how to articulate what happened, right? Stating our claim, the facts, and what we want to happen from that, right? So it would probably be best for us to get familiar with it'll probably get best for us to get familiar with making sure we know for the state near us, how has the state near us already handled that situation? What decisions are there in that and for that particular state? Because there may be a way for us to approach in getting our remedy, is what I'm saying.
Right. But it all begins with knowing thyself, and if you will, for all intents and purposes, knowing thy adversary.
And then I just spilled the shit. Yeah.
Because it's obviously the government agents treating their position in government like any other corporate position are attempting to expand their reach. Y'all heard me reference that the other day. The praise of they do the prayer of Jabez. They do the prayer too. They want to expand their territory. And although we allowed this legal society to exist with the purported promise of not touching us in our privates, they were like, okay, well, how about I just indoctrinate you to not be able to recognize the difference between public and private. Let me create something called the public fool system that you send your children to, and they learn how to be public. And at home, we don't teach them how to be private. So then you have a bunch of these C students telling everybody right now, these internet gurus, C students, that everything is public, and what you need to do is to get your public standing, status, and position, and create your public ends legis and all this stuff, because the village, stemming from mom and dad, never taught you how to be, and that you are private and should be presumed private. unless the record can reflect that
I
you
guess that,
have you're even like made to, empowered to, like you have the prerequisites to act publicly.
so that's what the one was just talking. Question presented: whether any provisions of the state code establishes liability against one who is not an individual, natural or artificial person when exercising a private right.
There you go.
That's a question. I just shared it in the chat again.
Guys, copy that question,
Yeah.
ponder it, ask people, send it in a notice.
Mm.
Because this is the overreach that everybody's complaining about. And the main thing in our minds that we can't get over is, well, these written protections exist. Why don't they just follow it? Anybody ever had that thought? The Constitution is here. Why don't they just follow it? What is the point if they could just do whatever, regardless of what's written? Anybody ever had that thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a conversation with ChatGPT, and everything it was giving me was like nothing makes you outside domestic law.
Hmm.
You letting your bot lie to you?
No, I'm just telling you because I know it's lying, but
Thank you for sharing. That's very important. That's very important what you just shared there. Nothing makes you outside of domestic law.
they just said operating privately means you just invoke your protections rather than reject them.
What means that you invoke your protections rather than reject?
Operating privately.
Operating privately means that you are invoking your protections.
It means you can invoke protections like the treaties and
That you can.
Constitution and all of that. Yeah, rather
Oh,
than reject them. But nothing makes you outside of domestic
okay. I
law.
guess when you said invoke your protections, who else was not thinking about paperwork when he said protection? Am I the only one that thought about things that fling metal when he said protection? Because I was not talking about no treaties, or at least I wasn't thinking about those.
Well, you know, the Constitution,
Pew pew. Anybody else was not thinking about no uh paperwork protections? Okay. Right.
May I
Right.
ask you another question? May I ask another one?
Gratitude, guys. So I don't care nothing about treaties. Those I really don't even care nothing about the Constitution, okay, in general, because it doesn't apply to me. However, it is only important to control those who have pledged fealty to be controlled thereby. When they are acting in the capacity that is controlled by the Constitution, they start doing nonsense. It's important for me to go and be like, okay, what are they doing? Okay, what are they supposed to be doing? Okay, they're supposed to be doing this. Okay, where are they supposed to be doing it? Okay, they're supposed to be doing it there. Who are they supposed to be doing it with? Okay. Purple hippopotamuses. Oh, so what were you doing over here? What were we doing over here? Well, the thing that empowered us said we could do this and that here and there with them and thou. Uh-huh. Again, what brings you hither, though? We send our kids to public school, they think that they are public persons. They get online, they hear what you got to do is correct your status because you was born. They created a corporation for you when you were born. And nobody is like, well, what authorize that? Because if there wasn't no authorization for that, then is that not void itself? If it is void, why do I have to do something about it? How is that making sense to y'all? They made a corporation for us when we were, who gave them? Because you can't tell me it's natural authority. You can't. Are y'all convinced, or have you guys been convinced that it was an automatic status that somebody could just make something for you upon birth that automatically suddenly becomes yours, when at the onset you had no capacity to contract, so it couldn't have been you, and then it's not even giving you a benefit? Let me see what y'all saying in the comments.
So when you're under arrest and you ask that kind of question to them, what do you expect to happen? They let you out the handcuffs?
um when you get arrested, what are you getting arrested for? Are you, when you say arrested, do you mean pulled over on the side of the road, or arrested in what you're saying is like they put handcuffs on you, which is battery? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean they're racking up charges, doing whatever they're doing. But I mean, like, but we
We're not.
need.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, how you're getting arrested. Is it a roadside arrest, like
It
the
could be that.
general, hey, your tail lights are out, or
It could be the
nonsense, or
roadside
you
arrest.
okay? We don't have that type of conversation roadside. And this is what I'm talking about with being preemptive. The reason, I don't know about everybody else, but the reason why I make my classes and I make them evergreen is so we can discuss how to be preemptive. Imagine getting the so-called roadside arrest, but you already put in paperwork with the various tow companies in the county, that you already had a meeting, you already set up and had a meeting with the sheriff, with the chief of police, with the internal investigator of the city that you're near. So they already know, and you can let the officer at the side of the road. The conversation needs to be, I done told you, not okay, now I'm going to handle this after the fact. But let's say, for example, you have to handle it after the fact. It still goes the same way. You have to send out notices to these enforcers. Like I mentioned already, the chief of police, the sheriff, the local tow companies that they're likely to call, and set all they ask up in advance. My suggestion on, or to handle an arrest, is to not wait until you're arrested to start handling some shit.
Gotcha.
And we don't have that type of conversation at the side of the road. At the side of the road, when an armed thug is making demands, it's just like when any other armed thug, like if they busted up into your house and gave you demands.
No,
It's
I was
sir,
talking
yes,
about like after
sir.
they take you to jail and now you sit up in there, you got to wait to speak to the judge and all of that kind of stuff. And then, you
And then we sue them. That's what we do. That's what we do over here at Lawful Living. We tort claim, we notice, we set up to sue.
gotcha.
This is why we have the classes, which is why we have Pigpen, which tells you how to communicate to the chief of police, the internal investigator, chief, the ombudsman, if they have one, the mayor.
Hold everybody accountable.
Let them know what they need to know.
Speaking of
Don't wait
tort
until they
claims,
tow. Don't wait until they tow. Let them know what they need to know.
I forgot to put the DA on my tort claim.
It's not too late.
Well, I sent it out, but
It's
he'll
still not too
definitely
late.
be. I did send it to him, but he wasn't as part of the defendant. I did
They
send it
might
to
not
him
need to be
though.
part of the defendant. The defendant has to be somebody that did something. A respondent
Well,
is somebody
yeah.
that just might be interested in the outcome of the case.
Okay, yeah, the cop. I did the cop. I
So
definitely went for the cop.
Self says there's an appointment time for everything and a time for every event. Word. A
I got
lot
a
of people
notice
are
from
sitting
you.
in the chat and they don't necessarily have something that they're working on. And I'm here to tell you, you're waiting to be reactive. You're waiting to be reactive. If you are not actively meeting with these people, especially when election and change hands and all that, be like, yeah, well, welcome to your office of whatever public office this is. Let me reintroduce myself like I did to the last one so we can continue to have a mutually beneficial relationship. Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. Because again, imagine that the conversation at the so-called side of the road is I think you need to check in with your boss, right? Andy Williams or whatever. I think you need to check in with Chief so and so and let them know you're talking to me right now in my Corolla. That's a different conversation, right?
That's like at Walmart when my son was arrested momentarily and he wouldn't give up his name until they had me on the phone and I let them know his name and they ran his name and they decided not to issue him any tickets or trespass him from Walmart and called me back to let me know that he was on his way home.
Gratitude, N-word public servants.
Right. And this is after we've done paperwork. Like they already know who we are.
They need to know sometimes.
Right. So just saying.
Everybody's like, I live in the most corrupt of all ever time, town, county, state.
I would never say that.
And I always ask them, what are you going to do about it, adult? Because we're not going to get together and just cry about it on the net. That's what's not going to happen. That's not the way that I trained myself. That's not the way I raised my children, one of which is on this call. Y'all barely hear her talk much, and you think she's gonna open her mouth and complain? Why use your energy for that?
We're not gonna sing Kumbaya.
We tort claim them. When the TSA tried to investigate to prosecute me for not having federal ID, all I did was pull up who's supposed to have federal ID and ask them for their records to reflect it's me. It was very easy. And nobody else here is out here doing it. Nobody did it before me. And wow, none of y'all gurus have done gurus online that y'all follow have done it since May 2020. Title 28 tort claim on the TSA, because I'm going to need to find out where it says I'm supposed to have what you are attempting to investigate and prosecute me for. Where is that? We so busy looking for defenses, we not on the offense, asking questions. The FBI, 2 FBI agents came to visit me, my people. Came to my private living space to talk to me about how I got in a sterilized area in a federal trade zone. And if I didn't study to even challenge the dummies that made them show up, I would have not known how to challenge the dummies that did show up. Some of y'all don't even might remember that. I should have brought my phone when I came outside, when I came to talk to them. I should have said, hold on, let me go live. My Facebook friends would love to hear this conversation.
Yeah.
There's nobody out here that could teach you every single nuance, because wasn't nobody gonna be able to answer the question of what should I do when the TSA or Homeland Security is trying to investigate to prosecute me for not having the federal ID or federally recognized ID. But I do know that I could be annoying AF with asking questions. I know that for sure. I'm very confident in my ability to annoy the hell out of somebody with my questions. I'm an expert. I've been pissing adults off for a long time, asking questions they cannot answer.
Sis, can I add to your wisdom about the evergreen comment you made earlier?
What's that, bro?
It's very true. I will say in most recent studies, I was digging into Georgia's just whatever content for law for Georgia. This particular resource was Georgia jurisprudence. And when I went into the business tort, not just the personal injury and tort, because every state, whatever they got going on as far as their publications and things of that nature, they have things labeled a certain way. What I recognized when I went into the business tort section, and it said the sole relief, right, for tort when you're dealing with business in Georgia is injunctive relief.
I love it.
So look, so check it out.
Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me.
So hold on. So hold on. No, check it out.
I would enjoy the whole state from talking to me.
Check it out. This is how I saw it applied, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking genius." What happens is, let's say, people don't do right in business. You're about to go buy a land conveyance. They're going to say they're doing a consumer loan transaction for money, and then it's going to get confused in some way because then it's going to be a credit transaction. All right, bet.
We call that the okie doke in the streets, don't we?
Correct. So before you even go out there buying anything in Georgia, what you can do is what they got as far as the means for injunctive relief. You see what I'm saying? Ahead of time. In other words, I recognize that Georgia already has built with the principles of equity, kid to met in the consumer realm before you even go out there and spend your first dollar. So that principle already there. Does that make sense? Are y'all hearing me, or am I?
I hear you, bro. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
I live in Georgia, and I know exactly what you mean.
So, but my thing is, like, yes, I grasp the concept. You see what I'm saying? And I get everything that we going over, but what I recognize is so that we don't get accused of being esoteric or metaphysical in a civil procedure or civil, forum. When you go to look at how the state has already processed said esotericism and metaphysics and already has case notes and decisions on them, it actually makes this thing a whole lot more easier in terms of all you got to do now is learn how to take the facts of your situation and fashion them according to what's in your state's jurisprudence encyclopedia.
Why you laugh and say I'm playing with my food in the state court, boy?
Bro, I get it now. I'm in the state with you playing, bro. I don't even know why.
That's right.
I don't even get why I was laughing at you now, because now I see that it's way more remedy in the state than on the federal. If you really read the shit.
Say it again.
There's way more remedy in the state if you read the shit than on federal.
So you're not gonna laugh at me again saying that I'm playing with my food in the state court, right?
Well, I'm gonna laugh
it's
because
still
it's funny. It's still funny. But I'm just saying I'm grabbing a fork, knife, and plate with you. That's all the fuck I'm saying.
Hey, let me just say,
all they could do is
It's a compliment, Trading. It's a
do a
compliment.
due process violation. That's all they could do. Have to. I know it's a compliment.
Already, yeah. So yeah, so when I just read that little bit on business tort, not even the personal injury and tort in Georgia, just the personal tort. I mean the business tort. I was like, yo, they got kids to net already set up before you spend your first dollar.
Title 23. Title
What's
23.
Kieta met?
Because he
Because
feels
Write it,
that
write it down. Write down kids
yeah.
met and look it up.
but they call it injunctive relief. So in the business code for business torts in Georgia, the sole remedy, which means the only remedy in business tort is injunctive relief. So that means before you spend a dollar, you need to put the insurance.
Dear Walmart, dear Sam's Club, dear Costco, don't ask me for no ding receipt.
And there's a process.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
It's a process for it too, because when it's in business, it's injunctive relief. When it's agencies and departments, that's when you talk in declaratory judgment. If I'm wrong, then I'm open for correction. But that's what I'm seeing with this shit. Like, okay, so we do got it. It's just that now we need to make sure
you are not wrong.
Yeah, anything, bro? You breaking up.
You're not wrong, son.
Damn, I missed it. I heard you are not in Hassan. That's all I caught. It's all good, bro.
He said you're not wrong.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gratitude, sis, for clarifying. All right, so yeah, that's just what I'm saying. Like Malika's right. The evergreenness of the content made it so that when I started looking in a particular state jurisdiction, I immediately began recognizing equitable principles. So when people talking about invoking equity jurisdiction, like, yo, equity is the thread that makes the blankets, that's the statutes. So stop demonizing the shit that's written for real, because they already been made with equity. You just got to go and read the shit and see if you actually comprehend the equitable principles at the foundation of the statutes. And if there is nothing there that's equitable in a statute, then that's not a blanket, which means you don't have no coverage. So equity has to show up as the thread to make sure a blanket can be made to cover you so you're not left out in the cold. Does that make sense?
Could I just add something to what you're saying too, bro? Because I was in Cobb County jail, and I was able to get access to like a Westlaw, and then there was like a section, they have a title like in Georgia about courts titled equity, and it talks about the injunctive relief, the declaratory judgment,
correct,
plenary or whatever what they call it, relief, and so on and so forth. So, but what happened was like I had read this, I had just got the only code section, and it doesn't give you any notes or anything like that, but it says that equity cannot interfere with criminal law, or it cannot aid or detract or whatever. But in the case law book that I got, it actually says they're like the case law doesn't support that. So what happened, what I got caught up was is that it'll say in the code that the equity doesn't interfere, but I didn't have the prior understanding that I wasn't an agent, I wasn't on the clock, I'm not obligated to do any of these things. So even it talks about like if you're in jail, there's a certain form that you have to use, but I would assume that that form only applies to people who are saying that they're agents, if that makes sense.
Well, no, that's
and
the thing
and
I'm
that
talking about too. It's not a matter of looking at the people as they are agents. Instead of looking at the position in that case, look at the deprivation that's occurring and how you can be able to get redress for the grievance that you will be able to narrate.
Yes, because although equity might not aid in a so-called criminal case, is it criminal if it's misapplied? Because then
Yes.
if it's just misapplication, right?
Right.
Then there's no bar to the application of equity. As a matter of fact, equity is what's required because you don't have an at-law remedy.
Correct. And if the statute is already providing how something is supposed to happen, then equity is going, like justice is going to take its course. The equity is going to prevail. You're going to see it because the way things are supposed to align, they can't align. You're not really leaving it to, because I think what's out there in the world is that people think that these judges and attorneys are nefariously doing something. No, because I literally, granted, one of our friends-in-law sent me a video to look at the second half of the video yesterday, right? But when I looked at the first half of the video, and what I witnessed was a judge that looked tired and kept wiping her face, prosecution that looked like he didn't want to be there because he's there on the behalf of the policy enforcer that wrote the ticket for the young lady that's there to defend herself. And spoiler alert, she won. How was she able to win? All she did was used her testimony to pick apart whatever the policy enforcer said based on the questions brought by the fucking prosecution. And I'll say this. This is what I'll say I observed. What I observed was the policy enforcer lying. And when I say lying, I mean lying to the point where by the time you go, I had to look at the case twice. I had to look at the hearing twice because what I realized what happened in that particular case, and it was Fulton County. It was a Fulton County court in Georgia. And this young lady carried the case. She there on her own, pro se, how they say, this policy enforcer got the attorney and everything. And what the policy enforcer said, the only thing I was left in awe about is the fact that this dude didn't get sanctioned for perjury. Because the perjury was outright. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all can still hear me, but
I wonder if you could come back and do perjury after the fact. Like, I know I already beat y'all, but also I want to report y'all for some perjury.
Yeah, like I thought it was
motion to court for referral.
Let's get petty with it. I love it. All right, who else got their hand up next?
Can I ask another question?
Okay, go ahead.
The Tennessee Department of Revenue sent me a notice. I sent it return to sender. This is the second one I sent return to sender. And they returned it back to me with my return to sender on the envelope. Do I just send it back and return to sender again? I mean, it says it right on there.
Why not?
Just keep tossing it back and forth. Let them keep sending it back, and I send it back to them.
I mean, everybody
play tennis
says
with that shit.
Huh?
What's that?
Play tennis with that shit.
Exactly. Aren't we? Don't everybody say the court is the paperwork? Yes.
Right.
All right. Well,
I am taking too long, so I wasn't sure if
on any court where you're playing a game, because this is a game. Although life is at stake, livelihoods are at stake. Okay, the entire monetary system of this world is at stake. It is a game.
What if I take it to the next town and put it in the mailbox?
If you wish to do something special, that's totally up to you. But yeah, I mean, you already know the answer to your own question, I'm sure, before you asked.
Well, I did say that to throw it back in the mailbox, but I'm taking too long now, so I'm wondering if there was something else I should do. So I just started the course, so
yeah, of course, there's other things you could do. You could enjoin them from ever sending you mail ever again.
How do you do? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you do. Y'all never broke up with somebody? Let's talk
just
real, because y'all be acting like everything just because it's related to law is brand new. You just throw your whole life experience out the window, your whole mind, everything you've learned from kindergarten, you just throw it in the trash. Has anybody here ever broken up with somebody?
Yeah, you make a phone call.
Give them a breakup letter.
Sometimes it's not just a phone call. Some of us know what's up. I got people with my name tattooed on their body. You think I just told them to stop calling me and then they just stop calling? Okay?
I
I
get
have
it.
exes still trying to be my friend right now. Y'all never broke up with somebody? Come on.
Did we break up?
I hope y'all realize this is what it is. The governments and their agencies and their agents acting in agency, I should say, are purporting to have a type, an actual and type of relationship that allows them not only to communicate with you, but communicate with you in a type of way about certain subject matters. Does everybody realize that? It is a purported, supposed, assumed, alleged relationship. Is everybody realizing that?
They think we go together.
Give me my keys. I want my keys back. That's like Seinfeld, Kramer. Give me my keys back. I want my keys. Give me your keys.
It's a beautiful thing when you see it.
You never broke up with somebody, TT? You just disappeared? Just got up one day, walked out? That's okay too. But that means you guys know how to do it. Yeah, that's right, Jake. You give notice. That's the bottom line right there. We don't go together. We probably never went together unless you could show, like, I don't know, help me, like, total recall the date and time that you winked at me, I winked back at you, and all of a sudden we holding hands and walking through the park. I don't have any recollection.
It's not working out. I don't think we should
We
talk anymore.
allow this. It's not me, it's you. I don't think we should talk anymore. If I'm not supposed to be talking to you and I don't want to talk to you no more, and you send me a letter, why and I send it back to you and you send it back to me, I'm gonna keep sending it back. Of course, until and unless I enjoin you with the law of contracts, the law of voluntary association. Those are what injunctions and declaratory actions are about. If we did go together at one point, because I know some of y'all was engaged in government business, if we did go together at one point, we don't any longer. And I know we like
Cancel
to
my
joke.
subscription.
Yes, cancel my sub. Unsubscribe. Then we make fun on TikTok where we actually have people getting feedback, verbal feedback, by the way, which is why we need stuff in writing, verbal feedback that the government agents are telling them things like, you can't cancel these benefits. Did you just hear yourself say that sentence? I cannot cancel this benefit. Are you listening when these atrocities fall from your dirty mouth? How does that make sense? Can somebody tell me how it makes sense? That statement? You can't cancel these benefits?
Oh, that's Don Corleone.
Does
Either
that
your
does that statement
signatures.
make sense to anybody who would
Because
just
that's the
get off
only
the
way they
phone like,
can
Right,
control
okay,
you
thank
by
you?
you accepting benefits and privileges from them, right?
right. Yeah. You owe me.
No. Imagine if look at the word benefit. Is a benefit something that can be forced upon you?
No.
Y'all not listening. So what is that agent saying when they respond that you or me or someone cannot cancel or terminate what is called a benefit?
That they don't comprehend that state's jurisprudence or civil procedure. That's what it says to me in this moment.
or that they think you're
Well,
Isn't
slave.
this a,
I thought that was their purpose because that's the way that you're under their jurisdiction if you're accepting benefits and privileges.
No, no,
no,
no, no. It has to be
no?
related to what we talking about. I can't be accepting SNAP benefits and you think that means I have to accept your driving privileges at 24/7. Nothing
Oh, right.
works like that. Nothing works like that at all, guys. This is why they have all these individual and separate licenses, all of these individual and separate agencies. Does it make sense? Oh, well, you went and got a benefit from that agency over there, and therefore you're under our jurisdiction over here. How does that make sense to y'all? And then we
You,
ask no questions of, oh, well, how in the world did that happen? Can you show me where I consented to not be able to cancel so-called, if it's a benefit, how is it not cancelable? I know that's not a word,
Oh,
but
not the
if
trustee.
it's a benefit, how is it not terminatable? If it is in fact a benefit, how can it be thrusted upon me? No, why we don't ask that question when we hear those stupid replies?
Well, yeah, because if you're the beneficiary, why are you paying? Why are you why are you wrapped up in this?
Because credit default swap. There's somewhere
Yes,
along the line, there's some agent that
yes,
switched positions to receive the benefit that's due to me and
yes,
indoctrinate us to feel like we are the debtors and that we are in fact receiving something called benefits. No, I'm not receiving no
yes.
benefits. Are you crazy? I am the benefactor. How can I receive benefits for who I empowered as the beneficiary? How could the benefactor get benefits? That's like saying that your children are getting benefits from you. Sorry, you're getting benefits from your children. How is that? When you gave them, if you gave your 5-year-old everything they got, how can you be getting a benefit from your 5-year-old or 6-year-old?
If you're a vampire, Dracula.
maybe
I
when
mean,
they
well, that's
giggle or
what the
laugh, if
government
you
is
think
to
they're
a lot of
cute,
people.
but
That's
not
what the
like
government is to a lot of people. They are succubus. They are
Uh-huh.
vampires,
Uh-huh.
vampiric, and
Uh-huh.
some of us like the nibble. Some of us
Yeah.
like a little nibble. Yes,
Word.
we lie and say that we don't. But what do we do about it? Usually complain about how much we have to read, how much time it takes, how we're so tired of, and we done a bunch of nothing really.
Malika,
Come
to
on,
what
Malika,
you were
say it.
talking about. Oh,
Don't even put the tip in.
No.
Malika, an emotional outburst to what you're talking about.
Okay, good.
I called an agency just to get inquiry information. And they said just calling in was doing business with them.
What?
And then yes, calling in, they said just calling in to have an inquiry was doing business with them. So then I asked them, what are the requirements for doing business with them? And they said, one would have to have or bring into with them a driver's license
Oh,
or some type of a marriage license or some type of a
oh,
license to
yes.
engage with them on a public level. So I
That's
wanted to
wonderful.
give you that information.
That is wonderful and official and great and legitimate. I like that. That means
Yeah.
it confirms everything we've been talking about. They're always attempting to enforce a privilege granted by the state in the form of some type of license or permit.
I
And
need that in writing.
uh,
No,
right, as
no,
everything,
I'm gonna need that shit in
everything
writing.
in
no,
writing.
no. I'm going down to the employment office and filing for back wages. I'm sorry. I didn't see that
Okay,
on my paycheck.
just brace yourself for when they say, "Look, it says right here you can volunteer."
I'll say FO.
Yeah, to all those people that are out there saying they're turning their driver's license in and all this stuff, it's like, you can still engage in those type of activities if and when you choose to.
Off
Absolutely.
duty alibi. Off duty alibi, good brother.
That's
Right,
right.
right. And so
That's right.
people are missing that,
I,
it's not all
I,
or nothing.
That's right.
Yeah. At
It
least not
says
automatically you don't owe them anything.
You're in
The,
charge of that,
the
right?
rule
You
is
get to
use
decide.
determines classification. How the thing is being used is determine how it's classified.
Yeah, right.
yeah, here's my logbook.
No, they want it to apply because it is being used. They don't want to recognize, right? That
Right.
it's
As soon as you give them
what is
notice,
being used for. Is it being used for actual regulated activity, or are you just trying to regulate my activity because I'm using it?
right.
Which side is it? Because it can't be both. And one you have authority over and the other one you don't.
But everybody's out here driving around like they're agents all day long, every day.
And then, of course, we have the people on the internet that are encouraging us to do that, encouraging us to go and create and maintain and give the impression that we are learned and aware and bound to some commercial rules. They tell us what you need to do is get DOT plates. Are you
I was
listening to
told that.
yourself, agent?
Or a
Yeah.
Yeah,
twit
they say
card.
that's what
Some
you
people
need to
say.
drive with the private plates. Yeah, that's what the last class told me.
Yeah, what rule says that? Are you going to show me that in writing? Or are we just going to say it? And because I am maybe a C student or perhaps a C minus student, I'm just going to go along with it.
It's like a plumber. A plumber can, he can work on his own house, even his neighbor or friend or family, or as long as he's not doing it in commerce and, charging, then he can do that stuff. It's
Yeah,
his
but I
right.
can do whatever I want, though. I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. He can do whatever he
Those
wants, but then as soon as he
that
starts to
restriction
charge, then he
that
has to have a license.
no, I don't. The government.
That ain't true.
You're going to have to show me in writing where the law says that. This is how we started off the conversation about an hour ago, guys.
Right, because if you
Where is the
operating in
law
private, that's
that
your business.
says that my right to exchange whatever I wish for whatever someone else is willing to exchange with me for anything. There is no exception. When did it become a state granted privilege exclusively that wherever it might say that if I charge, I have to, I'm in commerce and therefore I have to, where does it say that? Where is the law? I am willing to concede if it exists. And for no other reason will I concede. Show it to me. Show me where my right to exchange whatever I want for whatever someone else is willing to exchange with me for anything. I don't care if it was something found, something grown, something on or in your body. I
So
don't care where it did the
Something
ability.
borrowed, something blue, something old, something new.
So it would only be whenever they're doing it under their license name, like their business that they
Yeah, but
have
I don't have to.
license to.
That's the whole thing. I'm saying that I don't have to have a license or a business. I don't have to incorporate. I don't have to LLC. I don't have to INC. I don't have to 508C13 or whatever. I don't have to do none of that to plumb anywhere, to
Right.
plumb
Right.
anyone.
That's
Right.
right.
I was thinking more like with the off-duty alibi type of, giving that example is saying that, they couldn't be held to those rules while they're not engaging in
Of
the
our
licensed activity.
indoctrination. That's what it is. It was a great example of our ability and nature to simply repeat things that we have not yet confirmed.
Well, I'm trying to clarify. I'm not really trying to repeat. I'm just saying, like, if they're engaged in their exercising their license and they're engaged in the regulated activity,
Yeah,
regulated.
but the person asserting that I'm exercising something under a license is going to have to prove that.
Okay. All right.
I even
got you.
need a license, that I have a license, much less the least of which is being operating under it at the time.
Can I speak back to an evergreen Malika quote, if I may?
No.
Oh, tonight. So like you said, people like all crimes is commerce, or all commercial, all commerce, whatever, right?
All crimes are commercial.
Right. So
everything is
it's
commerce.
wrong anyway, so who cares?
but look, if it wasn't, right? If it wasn't, right? Why would a state need an injunctive relief to be the sole remedy in consumer protection?
Well, consumers are business anyway.
It sounds like injunctive relief is insurance. Before you go out there spending your bread, because I didn't want to just say it, I wanted to actually say it and then show it, highlight it, put it in front of your face. Because this is saying that when you go to do that, reach in your pocket, swipe your card, get Federal Reserve notes, crime is happening. So before you go out there, mixing it in crime and shit, why don't you do an injunctive relief? That's not Hassan saying it. That's not even Malika saying
Now you sound like Rich Man.
Well, the reason why it's a crime is because it's a monopoly. Are you a monopoly? For Christ's sake.
That may be true. Hey, Stephen, what does this say right here, Stephen? Right? What does this say?
It's off the okay. It's pulling up now.
Fair business practices.
I'll turn it this way so it'll fill your screen.
Okay.
All right.
Is everybody seeing it? Okay, yeah, I see it.
Am I doing this right? I want to make sure. Why is that shit going down like that? Hold on, let me make sure.
I don't know.
I'm seeing it.
Okay, good.
It's probably enlarged a little too much for the screen, because sometimes that's how the screen starts acting weird when you make it like super big. But I see it here.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I want you to just read the first sentence, and then I'm gonna go to something to expound upon it a little more.
I love this. I want to research this statute in every state, because this is a compliment to what we went over with the off tax roll, where every state calls it a declaratory something. They either call it a declaratory relief, a declaratory order, a declaratory action. Inside of the agency, you can get them to declare.
Correct.
That's what this reminds me of. So when it's a business, it's injunctive, and when it's an agency, it's declaratory.
Correct.
Which is what you said almost an hour ago.
Correct.
Boom.
So
hope you guys paying attention.
It's the sole remedy.
Can you explain the difference between business and agency?
Well, one is okay. So
the relief.
Yeah, because one is
declare when you look into the Administrative Procedures Act.
I can't hear you anymore. I don't know
what happened. That was my phone. Like, did Malika go out, or is that my phone?
I think it was hers.
Yeah, so, she in the woods.
If I could maybe complete her thought. All right, so if you got a contract with somebody,
declaratory orders.
There she go.
Declaratory actions, declaratory judgments, declaratory something. It's usually called something declaratory. However, it seems here, when it's with a public entity, that the remedy is injunctive.
Look, yeah, business.
I know that might be a little too advanced for today.
That's funny, because I think it's foundational. I think, if you need a state, then you need to be cozying up to your state's jurisprudence encyclopedia if they have it. and cozy up with the civil procedure and really get to know it, because the jurisprudence to me, and again, I'm open for correction, the jurisprudence is how you express the issue. Now, the means to do the
Absolutely. And that is the difference between winning and losing. And that's what most people don't seem to comprehend, that when you choose the incorrect argument, right? If you're
right,
not expressing the root of the issue, like the fact that, perfect example, the friend that posted in the chat something about equity not being applicable to criminal procedures, and it won't aid the prosecution nor the defense. Again, we have to recognize that that is still based on a presumption of a legitimate criminal procedure. It's like when we
correct,
use the term foreclosure, for example, or eviction, for example, we always need to put it in quotations, because the terminology is where they trip us up. When they
correct,
say those terms, for example, eviction and foreclosure, they are implying HUD is a regulatory agency. And if they didn't name HUD in that foreclosure or eviction proceeding, that's something we need to be aware of. Those terms trigger certain jurisdictional requirements. They are not just universally applied words, as we
word,
might unfortunately um, interpret them. So when we want to object to properly, ask questions about, we need to delineate that although we might use the term pull over, it's actually an arrest. And
correct,
although we might use the term foreclosure, it is theft of immovable property, like how they call it in Pennsylvania. They want to use the word foreclosure because foreclosure insinuates a proper process. That's for foreclosure. When it's improperly applied or misapplied, if you will, it's
mm-hmm.
not no, it's no longer foreclosure. It's not even a wrongful foreclosure. It is just theft.
It's a taking.
It's a taking, absolutely.
So the reason why I brought this up in a Newbie Tuesday kind of fashion, because I'm about to show you a Newbie Tuesday, um, or a newbie mistake that gets made often that we come across. So, um, unlike the Fair Business Practices Act, which is obviously something separate, right? Which permits a recovery for damages. Okay, so it taught me something already. If I want to do a recovery for damages, then Fair Business Practices Act when it comes to consumer protection, right? In the realm of consumer protection. The,
Right.
sole, the sole remedy available, however, under the Uniform Deceptive Trade Practices Act is injunctive relief. All right, so it's got the superscripts 1 and 2 right there, right? So as an example, if we scroll down, one
So when
about
you say uniform, is it as in the Uniform Law Commission made it?
Oh no.
Or military.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because what I recognize, look, even with talking with Self, he was saying that to a certain degree, Self was saying that he recognized that one of the judges was in the credits as one of the co-editors, if I'm repeating this correctly, one of the co-editors of a secondary source legal practice guide in a particular state. So we're going to their shit.
Always. The
Yeah.
answer is always in their shit.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And so
When
if
they give you a bunch of BS, you got to sift through it because the remedy is in there. And some of us are too offended by the stench.
correct, and what I'm saying, right, being a Moor and everything, is that shit doesn't matter. All that shit was supposed to make me be able to go, all right, now I'm ready to take my place amongst the affairs of men. Whatever state I'm near, then I'm going to cozy up with that state's laws, right? I'm going to
Exactly. Their
civil
laws, their
procedure,
rules, their
rules,
regulations,
all
their
that shit.
policies, the legislative intent, the enactments. Like, why not?
Right. Not for me to follow, but for me to be able to hold them accountable when they
Absolutely.
do
Right.
stupid shit.
Well,
Always
that,
as a boss,
right.
never as the
Right.
servant.
Well, you
Correct.
just saw what just happened down in Oregon, which was basically, uh, all the rules that they operate on, for drivers is basically now guess what they have? the log for regular drivers, the per mile charge and the log book. They're going to have third party. This is creeping shit. It's creeping up on us. So you got to learn how to deal with this now.
I don't see it as that. If you can only make rules for purple hippopotamuses, I am unbothered that you have a billion of them and that you add to them daily. Does everybody comprehend what I'm saying?
Right.
If
Absolutely.
I am a pink zebra, I don't, there is no amount or type of law that you can make for your society that's going to somehow make me feel you are encroaching upon mine.
Right, but you got to leave behind all those people lining up to kill each other to get it.
I don't even see those folks. Those folks are not anywhere near my radar. I don't communicate with those folks. I don't seek to communicate with those folks. I hope everybody gets the life they deserve. I am not trying to make people who wish to be slaves free, just as much as I'm not trying to make those who wish to be free slaves. But if I know your stuff doesn't apply to me, and this is Newbie Tuesday, so I need everybody to embrace this. If you don't live in my house and therefore my rules do not affect you, why do you think the adoption, creation, penning, confirmation, enactment, or anything that I'm doing is encroaching upon yourself? We have to get our minds right. We have to make sure that we are embracing the actual communication to our inner self.
Word.
They ain't nobody making no laws that are encroaching on Malika. It might be encroaching on somebody else up in here. Perhaps. Maybe all of the rest of y'all in here. I don't know. But ain't no law you could make for your home that's going to make me feel like it's doing anything to me if I'm not in your home. That's all I'm saying and imparting on everybody here.
So look at the Newbie Tuesday mistake this cat made, right? So long story short, spoiler alert, right? This went to appeals or whatever, right? I guess you want to see a quick synopsis because what I'm pointing out is how somebody wasn't able to articulate the injury, right, or the harm. So there was somebody that wanted a whip, right? Potential car lessee, right? Filed an action against the car dealership alleging fraud and violations of the uniform, right? The UDTPA for Georgia and Georgia's FBPA. So the Superior Court in Fulton County, that particular judge partially granted the lessee's motion for summary judgment and denied dealership's motion. Dealership appealed. So at the Court of Appeals, that judge held that lessee failed to present any evidence of damage. Right?
Right.
Okay. So now, with that being said, here's the opinion, right? So if we see, right, their attorney filed, right, for Toyota Roswell, right, alleging that the defendant engaged in deceptive, right, unfair, right, blah, 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 constituted that, and that. Okay, cool. On a cross motion for summary judgment, the trial court partially granted joiner's motion, finding, as a matter of law, that Toyota of Roswell violated FBPA and denied Toyota's, motion. So Toyota appeals for the reasons that follow. Now, here's the juicy parts. This is where it gets like TV in your head. On appeal from the trial courts, ruling on a motion for summary judgment, we conducted de novo review and construed the evidence and all the reasonable inferences therefrom in the light most favorable to the non-movement. In this case, the undisputed evidence showed that on Saturday morning, November 22nd, 1997, during a SAW, Toyota Roswell's newspaper advertisement for a 1998 Toyota 4Runner with a lease price of $236 per month. Although the text of the advertisement described a base model Toyota 4Runner, a published picture depicted a Toyota 4Runner Limited, which had bumpers and fenders of the same color as the car body. In an affidavit, Joyner stated that the color, coordinated bumpers, and fenders were, quote, the major reason that the modeled picture appealed to him, end quote. And that based on the advertisement, he, quote, decided that he wanted to lease the vehicle represented in accordance with the terms stated, end quote. Accordingly, Joyner telephoned Toyota of Roswell and informed the sales manager that he would be in later that morning to lease the vehicle depicted in the advertisement.
Bait and switch. Switcheroo.
When
Switcheroo.
when Joyner arrived at Toyota of Roswell, he showed the advertisement to the sales manager and told the sales manager he wanted to lease the car. After a salesperson showed Joyner a regular Toyota 4Runner, he noticed that the bumpers and fenders were not color coordinated as depicted in the advertisement. It soon became apparent that the newspaper, which selected the picture of the Toyota 4Runner Limited from a CD-ROM provided by the car manufacturer, published the wrong photograph. After the salesperson and sales manager told Joyner that Toyota of Roswell could not lease him a Toyota 4Runner Limited for the advertised price, Joyner left the dealership. In his deposition, Joyner stated that he spent only 15 minutes at the dealership. Joyner eventually leased a 1998 Ford Explorer Sport for $397.85 per month. The Ford Explorer was red with gray bumpers and fenders. Joyner nevertheless sued Toyota of Roswell, alleging he was damaged by the erroneous newspaper advertisement. So that act prohibits a business from, quote, representing that goods or services are of a particular standard, quality, or grade, or that goods are of a particular style or model, if they are of another, and from advertising goods or services with intent not to sell them as advertised. Okay, cool. So you can't do that. You can't do false advertisement. Got you. Although
they needed a court decision to say you can't do false advertising.
I'm just look, when I read this stuff, I was like, yo, this is too funny. And it sounds like some goofy stuff, but whatever. Although the FBPA provides administrative remedies for any violation of the act, a private right of action is available only to a person. Don't get caught up in person, please don't, because you're wasting your time. Quote, who suffers injury or damages as a result of a violation, end quote. That's a huge fucking jewel. Accordingly, we have held that to prevail on a private cause of action under the FBPA, a private individual must establish three elements: a violation of the act, causation, and injury. That sounds so.
Y'all hear those elements to be proven? It's only three of them.
Sounds negligency.
If it takes you 30 pages to articulate three elements, you're doing it wrong. And if you just add in how many ever that you wish, and you're just blah 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 blah, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you try to force yourself to keep it to one page, but you have to make sure that you say enough to fulfill each element and not get confused that if you just keep writing and writing and writing, that you could make up for missing elements.
Yeah, I made that mistake in less than 24 hours. I had to tell self, I was like, bro, why do I keep elaborating?
Let me tag in.
And then
you know what I mean? Oh shit, let me say less.
Okay, so what he's talking about, like, that's called the material allegation or material fact. So a material allegation in a pleading is one that's essential to the claim or defense and which could not be stricken from the pleading without leaving it insufficient as to that claim or defense. So that means, in plain language, if you can take away what you have there, any fact that you're mentioning, and it doesn't change the outcome, then that's a material. That's not a material allegation. If you change anything that can be, and the outcome changes, that's a material allegation. So you only want to include what's necessary. Everything else is not important.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're
like multiplying by one.
Rules of court number of pages that you can file anyway. So
no, that's different.
Yeah,
that's true, but they're going to come back with that.
A lot of what we do, you know what I mean? Like, as far as coming into this information, the reason, we like to share our concepts and things of that nature because we're grasping principle. However, when it comes to applying principle, I think we have to eventually, and let me, I guess, be the first for the record to say that we got to be just as sharp in principle. I need to be just as sharp in procedure as I am in principle, instead of going out here telling it on the mountain about how demonized procedure is, when procedure is the
It's all
civil.
about procedure.
Yo,
Yeah. And
go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
the
No, go ahead.
violation of the due process, the procedure, is
Yeah.
what
Exactly.
qualifies the federal jurisdiction thereafter.
That's how
From the
you
state.
enforce your rights. You
Yes,
enforce your rights with
yes.
procedure.
Look, what made me even look at this consumer shit for Georgia, because Self was there asked me a question. He was like, "Yo, I don't even know why people be abandoning their consumer protections." Because a lot of shit if they read the consumer stuff for their state, a lot of the stuff that we talk about in theory, that theory has already been used as the thread to weave a fucking remedy if you go and read the consumer protection. So that's why one of the first things I showed y'all was the spirit of Akia Tamek in.
Yeah, it reflects in the whole code, because the code has to
Exactly.
be consistent with. And so if from the
Exactly.
top, if it says these are certain protected actions, these are certain protected subject matters, and your limitation for your focus and your subject matter and all that is over here. And that's part of the reason for the confusion with procedure, because they are sometimes properly applying procedure. It's just the incorrect subject matter. So they're like, oh, well, this procedure says that we have to, if we send out 2 notices and then and 3 days pass, then we get to do blah. And it's like, yeah, that's wonderful, except if you are not, or you're misapplying it on subject matter outside of the procedure, then are you following procedure?
No, we need to stick to the
It's a
recipe.
violation of the due process that's afforded to the facts, the
No, we're
situation.
doing the due process over here. It might be the due process for agents, but don't worry about that part. We're doing
No.
this perfectly. We are perfectly following these procedures. It don't apply to you, but don't worry about that. That's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna tell you guys something. Someone among one of our friends-in-law closed on a home in August with nothing but so-called earnest money. And when he made a challenge to the terms in the agreement, they immediately fumbled the ball. Immediately, the corporation fumbles the ball. If and when they were made, when the challenge was made properly, right, through the CFPB, the entity's only answer, guys, was that they offered a fair price. He's making a challenge to the basically breach of contract, the terms and conditions in the contract, the alleged agreement, right? Their only comeback is, we gave him a fair price. How y'all like that? What does that have to do with anything? Anybody want to tell me? Self just talked about material and immaterial.
Has nothing to do with it.
What does you gave me a fair price have to do with the terms and conditions?
Man, I was just about to ask that. Like, what do that got to do with anything?
Everybody's trying to find out. Even the CFPB agent on the phone was like, they didn't really answer your questions. You don't say. You don't. Anybody looking at it can tell.
Well, if they fumble that ball, then you get a first down.
Well, that's what we're at, the first down already, right? That's a great point.
You get a touchdown.
We're at least at the. What's that?
Also, you get a touchdown, not a first down.
I mean, it's about to be a touchdown because the CFPB is still trying to make them answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you didn't answer. Saying that you got a fair price is immaterial to the terms and conditions. The clarification of the terms and conditions is those questions that I've talked about an hour ago to keep asking, because
when you do,
I might not know how to actually, let's say, cancel or discharge a mortgage and all that. But I do realize that if I ask the right kind of questions, I could get the servicer to stop sending me a statement. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Correct.
an
Thank
expose.
you.
Yeah, it
The
was an
internet
expose.
gurus want us to focus on discharging debt. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It sounds disgusting.
Yeah, stupid
Discharging.
shit.
Yes, I suffer from gas myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know
They
how
want
to
us to,
ask those
but
questions
if
though.
you ask the right type and the right agency, if you will, a question, the question, you can get them to recoil. You can get them to recant. You can get them to leave the battlefield first. This is why y'all have heard me say for years, our goal here is to win without fighting.
Uh-oh. That's a maximum of law. He who leaves the battlefield first loses.
Absolutely. Right, Jasenia, get them to be like, oh yeah, you don't recall applying.
I want to
Emotional
do
outburst, Malika. That reminds me, the agency that I called because I was inquiring about the procedure they wanted for, to be used in my inquiry. The young man said to me on the phone, "You are hurting my feelings, so I'm going to disconnect the call with you because I can't give you the answers to the questions, but you're going to have to contact the OPM." And I said, "Well, who is the OPM? Because I don't work for you. Who would the OPM be?" He said, "Well, they give us a lot of acronyms, so I'll have to look up that acronym to see who that is." And then when he looked it up, he said it was the Office of Personnel Management. But he got into his feelings, so he did end the call because he was his feelings was hurt, and so I
Oh,
understand more now.
oh, my feelings hurt.
You said that, or that's how you took it.
No, he literally said that. And I said, "Well, in what way did I hurt your feelings?" He said, "Because you're asking all these questions and they only give us certain information in order for me
When
to."
is
Why
that?
did you bring your feelings to work?
I'm trying to tell you. I'm just about to
Why
ask that same question. Like,
Hey,
where his
what are your
feelings got to do
feelings
with
doing at
anything?
work?
Nah, I'd have just asked speak to a supervisor then. Let me speak to your
Yep.
supervisor since you in your feelings.
Yeah.
I did. I spoke to someone else and they got into their feelings. So I guess it was feelings day on that day.
Oh
Climb the
no,
ladder.
feelings day.
Look, y'all remember there's a meme going around for at least the last 15, maybe more years that it says butt hurt report,
Yes,
where it's like,
filled one out.
y'all need to pull up back that image online called butt hurt report.
I sent you that.
Send it off to these people in email. Let me get your email. Let me send you. Show me on this doll. Okay. Anyway, let's get to our other questions. Who else got their hand up? Oh, let me get this. Carmen, go ahead with your question. Common emotional outburst.
Okay, so following what the last question was, I actually got a letter from the lovely IRS telling me that they believe that I've submitted an incorrect form.
Whoa. Does it say the word believe in the letter?
Yes, believe. Yes.
Guys, do y'all
Damn.
hear this sorcery? An
Religion.
inanimate object called the IRS has belief? Who's
What
buying
did I
that?
say at the beginning of this call? Now is the time to know and not believe.
Yeah, they
That's
shouldn't be believing when they have an internal revenue manual.
That's a religious test. That's what that
Yes,
is.
the belief. Anyway, continue, darling.
Okay, so they believe that I submitted an incorrect Form
I'm sorry, I
W-4.
just can't laugh. I just can't stop laughing.
I
I tell
laughed when
them
I
what I
saw
know
it,
I do.
Malika. I was like, I cannot even believe these people are telling me this crap. But anyway, so it
You made
goes
an
on.
error. They believe you made an error. Are they showing it
Correct.
to
Yeah, and
you?
they want me to fix it because they want
you to fix it.
get their money. Those
They
volunteer
want you to
taxes that I
fix
used
it.
to pay once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
I thought isn't that the reason you sent in the update? Let me get my back. That to correct it? Wasn't that the point?
That was the whole reason. Yes, telling them that I don't volunteer. It's like, but the funny thing is that they say you may be subjected to a $500 civil penalty for making a false statement if we determine there was no reasonable basis to justify the withholding status filing status with a holding rate.
Great, because they're talking about themselves.
Yes.
Well, if I'm gonna fine them, it ain't gonna be no $500. What are you talking about?
Period.
My letter back to them is gonna tell them to keep holding up my money. It's gonna be a much bigger fine.
Yep.
Well, this is the thing that back in 2021, I went ahead and sent them a revocation of taxes. And I haven't paid any taxes, and I have not done my reparation stuff or anything just yet. And so
It sounds like you're being dragged into doing it.
exactly,
Yeah.
they want to drag me back into this, and I'm like, oh heck
No,
no.
not dragging you back into it. They're dragging it into your focus, is what I'm saying. You might think that you're going to do your reparations next year or the year after or whatever, and they're bringing it to your forefront right now. Because
Yep.
the same assertions that you would be making to correct the record are the ones you're going to have to use to correct the record. That's so wild.
Right.
You're going to have to be doing it sooner than later.
I think
Yeah.
so. But the weird part is that this letter, even though they attach a W-4 for 2024, I guess that's the year they want me to correct according to them. They have they had sent me a previous letter in 2023 telling me that I needed to file my taxes or they were going to file them for me. And
wow,
yeah,
y'all giving the IRS POAs?
no
Wow.
POA for the IRS.
You
So sorry.
sure? You can't just say no. It's
I can say no. We're
unusual.
breaking up. We broke up like 4 years ago. So
It's unusual for an agency to take action without some purported POA.
Correct.
You
They're
might
acting.
want to find out what it may be since they are exercising a POA. You might want to find out what it is. Because you're saying you did a revocation and you may have done a proper revocation, but now we need to scrutinize the record.
okay.
Now,
All
I'm not
right.
saying what they're doing is what I'm about to say, but what it sounds like is the equivalent of when a charitable organization or eleemosynary organization, like a church, temple, mosque, synagogue, takes on members, and those members are called indigent. However, since the charitable organization is caring for its members, then the indigency of its members is not abused, at least it shouldn't be. Like it seems like the principle is being abused in this situation that Carmen's talking about. They're acting as if she's an indigent member of their
Maybe they're acting
spiritual
as if she's
realm.
an indigent member of someone else's society, because remember,
Correct.
biblically, you can disparage people from other places. So they're basically saying you're somebody's ward,
Correct.
but maybe not mine, because if you
Correct.
were mine, I would have probably have a fiduciary obligation to care for you and not disparage you.
Correct.
Well, the 2023 situation, they sent me a letter saying, you don't owe us anything.
Yeah,
So
you just
carry
gonna have
on.
to
But
do
then
the
they sent
reparations
another letter
class.
about this 2024 stuff. And I'm
You
like,
still
okay,
just gonna have to correct the record, and I
right.
strongly suggest to use the information in the reparations class for that. So
Okay.
that's
All
the
right.
Yeah.
answer to that question.
Yeah. You better
Yeah,
get
but
down
I found it hilarious that they were telling me that they believe that I submitted an incorrect W-4.
Believe.
Well, yeah,
I
they're
mean,
trying to bring you to the altar.
did they
Oh
actually
yeah.
give? Did someone sign it? Is there someone's name?
There is an electronic signature from some S.J. Milburn, Operations Managers Collections
I wonder
from
if that's a
Austin,
bot
Texas.
that's suddenly feeling, or is that a actual man or woman hiding behind the IRS?
That,
Pay
you
no
know, this is
attention
the
to that
first
man
time I've
behind the
ever
curtain.
even seen, even if it's an electronic signature on anything, because their canned letters are usually never signed. So
You might have made it to the next level of the video game, you know?
When
Yes.
they, in their manual, I read the other day, it said that when they have to use discretion, like personally, someone in this position is having to use their at least some brain power to make a decision, they have to sign themselves.
well, it's not an actual signature; it's an electronic signature, like I said. But
Still, they have to
yeah,
actually put their name on it and claim,
yeah,
I'm the
they
one
did
that
put
did
their
it,
name
even
on
if
it.
it's not their full name or a wet ink signature.
Yeah, exactly. It's not their full name because SJ can stand for a lot of things.
Judge.
Self-judge. Yeah, exactly. They self-judged everything. Okay, so then my other question has to do with uh I had sent in a motion to disqualify the judge in the state case, and she denied it. And I've already worked on my mandamus before, but I'm trying to see how I can get this court to do what I want it to do, and have enough evidence to show, in case I have to take it to the, appellate or whatever, to create that record showing all the times that she's denied or she has not performed or whatever the case is. So I am doing uh, an emergency
Wait a
motion.
minute. Do you see the comment where
No, I
more to
don't.
come says S.J. Milborn was used in both her sisters and her brother's IRS stuff.
Oh,
Same S.J. Milborn. Y'all like that?
oh wow.
Do y'all think S.J. Milborn is just a
A
actual man
bot.
or woman that's sending off all of ours? Just happens to be everybody connected to us is getting
Yeah.
S.J. Milborn.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Could be.
Yeah, y'all
Somebody.
actually think that's a man or woman, S.J. Milborn, that just happens to be on both her brother's, sisters, and yours, Carmen?
Yeah, no,
It
that's not coincidental, I don't think.
No.
It says
That's
in
what.
their regulations that if you file and they still have you listed as a taxpayer, that and I forgot what position it is, or
You
the head
see what
treasurer, but
2J
they can
Mons
file
just
your
put in the
taxes
chat?
on your behalf.
You see, yeah, but that requires power of attorney. Does everybody realize that?
Yeah.
That doesn't, it says it right in their rules. There's no power of attorney required. As long
Yeah.
as they have you
Sandra
listed as a
J.
taxpayer,
Milburn.
then they can do
Well,
whatever they want.
something about becoming a taxpayer has to be the POA because you cannot legally or lawfully act on someone else's behalf without express written consent. It don't matter if they put that I don't need consent. There is no law that says that you don't need consent.
Nope. And I have
That is a violation of natural law and a violation of constitutional protections and all of that. And we already know that all rules, regulations, etc., inconsistent with and repugnant to is void, and you don't need a court to tell you that.
Well, then she should do a
I
notice to claim my damages, and she'll be the second one that
I
did it from
I
this
haven't
community.
I I haven't read the entire W-4 form, but it seems like there may be something in there since they're trying to get you to fill out a W-4, another W-4. So there may be something in there that gives them some kind of power of attorney.
There has to be, and you have to know what that is. And don't make assumptions that they don't have it. You have to find out what it is because they might. And so instead of you punching the air, just ask a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the chat, it says the Sandra J. Milborn's record, Andover, Massachusetts, alleged location, payroll year 2022, employer IRS, job title senior manager, work address somewhere in Andover, Ma.
Yeah, they actually changed the name of
Gratitude.
that. They changed the name of Andover. It's called Handover. I'm just kidding. It's a local joke.
Oh.
Well, the IRS office is that it came from is from Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm. That's very fishy. So yes, do your process. Get the resources for.
Where did you file your return at?
I haven't filed a return. That's the
Or
thing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't filed any returns since the last return that I filed was in 2021.
All right. Bust out the law on them. Okay.
Yep.
Take that reparations reloaded class. Read the acts that are attached to the resources section, and
Right.
go get them.
I already have the Title 26 stuff already. So that that talks about all of that is volunteer and all the information for that. So but I'll have to review it again to make
It's
sure.
not just Title 26 stuff. It's things like the Public Salary Tax Act and other
Right. Uh-huh.
resources that we have back there. So again,
Right.
I'm going to encourage not just you, but everybody else here that has not taken the Reparations Reloaded class. Shout out to our affiliates that are posting it in the chat so that people can get the not just the class, but also the resources that is available with the class that people need to read and comprehend so that they can make proper
Yeah, you want
arguments.
to do that. Do it now.
Gratitude for sharing the study guide, Linnea. And the reparations reloaded link, Brenda. Gratitude. All right, we got a couple more minutes. And a couple more hands up. Thank you for sharing, Carmen.
You're welcome.
All right, McGarvey. Go ahead with your question, comment, or
Greetings.
emotional outburst. Yes, greeting.
Greetings. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing all right. Just wanted to say I finished the As Above, So Below series this week. It took entirely too long, so I look forward to getting into the I think it's the Thursday class after you finish all those classes. Um, I had one question. When you do the well, I have a couple of things. When you do the CFPB, do you do it through like an online portal or do you like send like physical mail? I don't know if anybody, can you guys hear me?
I've done both, and the mail works too.
I can hear you. She probably cut out.
Okay, you said the mail works as well because I've done the CFPB through the online thing, but I haven't done it in the mail. Okay,
It
somebody
doesn't
just wants
matter.
to do it.
It's just how you choose how you choose to send it. Like it's going to have the same effect. So however you whatever you prefer.
Okay, cool. And so, another thing is I have a friend who was convicted in Cobb County and he's currently in prison in another county that's somewhere else. So, but he's not, somebody that has taken an oath. So if I was to try to bring in action, would I bring it in Cobb County or the county in which he is currently being jailed in, or does it not matter?
What's his charges? Did he injure
Um,
someone?
it was concealing the death of another. His fiance committed suicide, and when they interrogated him, yeah, he punched a wall in the interrogation room, so they gave him like 9 years for that, and then like concealing the death of another. Um, when he picked up his fiance after she killed herself.
Oh wow. Oh, where's that
So he's
destruction of property?
yeah, destruction of government property. I think he got like 1 year for the concealing the death of another because he touched the body before the paramedics got there. And then he had like punched or messed up the interrogation room. And then they gave him like 8 years for that or whatever the amount of time is. I think it's like 11 years total. So, but there wasn't like an injured party or anything like that. It was real big. Like the lady's mom was making a big deal about it with the prosecutor. She was going on the news all the time. And that's what happened. But I was just asking if anybody had any idea of where to bring an action, or if it doesn't matter where you bring the action as long as you bring it correctly?
I would say in the county that it happened in.
Nah, you got to look that up, bro. Like everybody has their own rules. Sometimes it's where the act, where the violation or uh,
Where you
the
live.
event, or
Yeah.
yeah, just it just depends on what type of action you're bringing. So you got to figure out what that is, and then look up in the rules where it has to be brought.
I was looking, okay, so I know that in Georgia they have like a special form that you need to order from the jail, I guess, or wherever you're at, they should have it. The administrative office of the courts. And if you're going to do like a habeas corpus, you have to do the habeas corpus on that particular form. And I was thinking of the vein of habeas corpus since he's not somebody that qualifies to be under their jurisdiction. So I
Okay,
was
well, the
thinking to
best
that
thing
vein.
to do is like we can't tell you what to do and how to go do it. We're telling you like how you figure it out, right? So if the thing is going to come from the procedures and the causes of action that's being brought,
You have
nothing
to
is
know how to research your situation or whatever
right.
the situation is that you're attending to assist in. So while you were saying, when you said they charge them, it depends. The direction that you need to go in depends on who was the alleged plaintiff and what was the presumed versus the proven capacity of the defendant. And then the passage of time would determine what agency or court you would address first.
Okay, I
Well,
got it.
the main thing like I don't know if you have the grounds yet, like the reasoning, the legal grounds as to what's going to be challenged, but you have to figure that out first, and then that'll give you the direction to what you need to do. But you have to figure that out first. Like what's the cause uh, that you're coming under, or that's going to be made, and then that's where you start your research at.
Okay. All right. And my last emotional outburst would be to anybody who is new is like really not more difficult than what it sounds like. It is as simple as it sounds. I spent a year and 20 days in Cobb County Jail because I went and I dealt with all the proceedings, even though I didn't sign, even though I didn't anything. I continue to go with the rigmarole. And there was a good video that somebody was playing, I believe Malika posted it, which the lady was talking about if she didn't feel like somebody has jurisdiction, she wasn't going to think about anything that was going on in that
Hallelujah.
direction.
Hallelujah.
So I'm just telling you guys from a lived experience, it is not necessary for you to participate. You participate voluntarily after participating voluntarily for a year because I had an idea in my mind, and the idea in my mind didn't match up with what reality was. But reality don't give a damn what you got in your mind because it's gonna stick as reality. So these things that they are teaching us are like the most practical things. And what's crazy is that before I got locked up or before I was dealing with somebody else, and the brother told me to put in an injunction, but I was just so gassed up, which is guru abuse syndrome. I was just so out of my mind that I couldn't like do that, and I could have avoided a lot of heartache had I done that. So just take the time to study, show yourself to prove, and everything that you need, as far as I know, as far as I can see, is amongst the people that are here. So if you do need help, this is the place where you can get help. But you got to be able to let go of the fear and be practical in our applications. And that's it. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, I got a
Awesome.
question for you.
Gratitude.
Got a question for you. Did before they locked you up, did you sign any paper like a waiver of not a waiver, but for speedy trial rights?
No, so like when I first got arrested, when I got to the jail, I signed everything under the duress. Like they kept making me sign over, and I just kept signing the same way. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, during all the court proceedings and everything, I didn't sign anything. And I kept on trying to get the judge to explain to me like what the situation was. I told her I didn't understand. Like, are there any other options? Because initially when I went to court, they were like, you had two options. Either you waive your formal arraignment or you agree to the plea. And I'm like, there has to be
What's
something else.
interesting is everybody starts off saying that statement the same way. They told me you either do this or you either do that. And all I keep thinking is all of it depends on the definition of you. You may only have two options, but Malika, okay?
I'm
Malika,
trying to tell you,
all right.
because when I was
I
in jail,
got
I didn't sign anything.
and I got way more options. So this you that you're referring to that only has two options, who is that?
And
Right.
I didn't give him my fingerprints.
Yeah, they
Right.
threatened to beat
Good.
me up for my fingerprints, so I gave it to them. But I shouldn't have gave it to them though. I should have let them go all the way because that's what it takes.
I don't know about that. I'd have
I mean,
wrote
y'all have to get your
signed
ass
under
beat
threat
now.
of getting beat up.
Yeah,
Just make a
I'm
record
not
of it.
getting beat up. I already wear glasses. I don't need nothing to be busted up, okay?
Ah.
As I said, similar to the thing at the side of the road, we don't have that conversation there. And when an armed thug is making demands, it shouldn't matter to you that the armed thug is in a uniform or not in a uniform. They are no less armed thugs. So it's a
Right.
lot of yes ma'am, no ma'am,
Aye, aye,
type of
sir.
stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Armed
Because
psychopath.
Yeah.
they are, which is why those of us who realize that you have to be a psychopath to even apply for certain positions. So
Yeah.
when you hear all the nonsense these psychopaths do, it's part of the course because only certain personalities, okay, will even be attracted to positions that you could hide crime behind. They intentionally join positions that crime can be hidden behind. They are attracted to that. That's what they like. That's what they need. That's what they gravitate towards. And
That's
it is
number two.
high time that we
That's
are all aware of it. Instead of what typically happens is everybody just hushes up and lets our family members and friends encourage their children to become those types of agents that hide crime behind titty metal
yep.
and positions of trust.
Don't ask questions.
Right.
Right,
I'm
because
sorry.
they are already your authority. Okay.
Can I can I give one more emotional outburst? My brother's trailer. We went to go do a junk removal. I parked a trailer in the in this park that's right next to my house because I didn't want to bring it in front of the crib in the neighborhood. So they towed the trailer, but I went and I got the trailer and I was looking at the laws and it says that they did it under like non-consensual towing or whatever, and it has to be there for at least 2 days, and they have to like put a sticker on it. And when you go pick it up from the tow yard or whatever the record service, it says that they have to provide any type of or different types of methods for you to be able to pay, quote unquote, pay to retrieve it. And the tow yard has a sign that says all cash on there. It says all cash. So that just shows that the police violated by calling to have it towed, even though it wasn't the allotted time according to their rules, their own rules that they follow. And the record will also was not following the rules,
Yep.
in saying that everything needs to be in cash. So we got a tort claim. I finished as above, so below. I'm trying to get in that class. I love y'all. I'm done.
Yeah, they're in cahoots.
What? What?
Please,
Pick me up.
please at least start with the getting cozy with the civil procedure and the state's jurisprudence dictionaries. That's my suggestion. I think that's a good pair of nipples to suckle from.
Right.
A good pair of nickels to rub together, bro.
Well, nickels or nipples to suck from, either one.
I
I
got
hope
two pennies.
you eat.
All right, congratulations. First of all, in even reading those toll laws, that's what we talk about in our traffic ticket terminator class. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just want to commend you on reading those rules. For some reason, we are engaged in a game that most of us refuse to read the rules of. And the most offenders are the ones who claim that they're following the rules. The biggest offenders that are ones who are claiming they follow rules or believe themselves to be following rules that they've never read. And also, even if they may have read them, they cannot show that they read them with comprehension based on how they are applying it to themselves and to others. So, what is the point of claiming to be literate if you don't comprehend what it is that you read, that you may read? And why do we continue to sign near or upon lines that say I have read and comprehend and agree and all this stuff when we don't?
Yeah, what I've noticed is that, and I guess let me do a Kanye West thing and just admit I'm self-conscious first, and then maybe other people will be brave to do so. What it is it's like all right, so my little guy here, right? My man, right? He can say his alphabet and his numbers, but he can't hold a conversation. We have these concepts and principles in our mind, but we can't articulate it with jurisprudence through procedure. So we are experiencing another level of infantilism.
Yes.
And we need to admit that that's what we're experiencing so we can grow from it. Are you?
Yes, and people do express that even when they will articulate something that can be written down and said verbatim, and they'll say, well, how do I articulate that? And I'm like, blink, 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 blink. I mean, on paper, email, front bracket right down.
Let go of fear.
Got one more hand up.
Gratitude. Thank you for sharing, McGarvey. All right, who else is next? I heard you trade in have no fear.
Aldo.
Hey Aldo, let's go. What's up?
Peace, everybody. So I got an update today. The judge made he made a rule on the motions that I had submitted on Monday, and he pretty much he denied it, which I kind of expected he would, and I didn't think he read everything through either. But he denied it. And I think
on what grounds?
He gave a generic answer, and there wasn't no specifics. He's like pretty much saying that
we need them specifics in writing anyway. Whenever I say whenever I ask anything, guys, only what they say in writing, just like only what we say in writing matters.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
so when we ask on what grounds, of course, it's nothing wrong with asking verbally on what grounds, just to see what babble and BS they say. But we need it written.
Oh, okay. Because I guess I could submit it.
Aldo, not
yeah.
to cut your wisdom. A maxim in law is to write is to act. So if you get something in writing, you get an act. I yield.
So can you ask for the court transcript?
Say that again?
I was saying, can we ask for the court transcript? That writing is good.
Yeah, it can be useful.
That's if they transcribe it.
I don't know if anybody's ever had a problem with a transcription as far as, courts making them. We have had problems where they delete things, which is tampering with a record.
So you want to make sure the record is preserved. If you're new, Newbie Tuesday, why are you here? To learn how to preserve what you need to know how to articulate. How can you preserve what happened to you and articulate it so that you can be redressed?
Yep. Redressing them grievances.
Mm-hmm. I yield. Go ahead, Aldo. My apologies,
Yeah,
bro.
so on the motion, on the denial, he just said So I'm trying to pull it up. But it was like, oh, he reviewed the record and based off what they on the motion I submitted and the response the attorneys submitted, that he went ahead and made a decision to deny it or whatnot.
And this, just tell everybody what the motion or motions are that
It,
were denied.
it was a motion for reconsideration on the foreclosure final judgment or summary judgment.
Yeah, so it's very important that we get those findings of facts and conclusions of law. Because although they might try to bar that when it's allegedly dismissed 12B6, that's not the case in here. This was a denial of a reconsideration, and the grounds upon that denial are very important to how we articulate the next step.
Okay, so I figured I would have to ask for the grounds, and because this
You want the
doing
findings. You want the findings of facts
findings of
and
facts.
conclusions of law, and I would suggest to everyone to put that phrase in a search engine, not an AI bot, a regular search engine, and then put the state name in there so you can see the rules that govern findings of facts and conclusions of law.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna send it early in the morning because the sale is tomorrow. But at the same time, like like we spoke already, sometimes they got to fuck around and find out at the end of the day. So once they cross that line,
Bankruptcy.
This is the hard part about the judicial process and preserving the integrity of it. The lotus flower grows in swamps. It's the most sought after flower, but the process that it has to go through to get to the level in which it's sought after, it has to grow through mud, murky waters, all types of animals, fecal and urinal matter, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is, like justice, which is the lotus flower, sometimes the deprivation of what you go through is the growing to the justice. So
exactly.
sometimes these lower level courts is the mud and murky waters, but as long as you're preserving the process of your growth as you have went through it, once you get above the surface of the water and blossom, i.e. some higher level court, all that shit you went through on the lower level was worth it, because now you're going to be the most sought after because you made it above the surface of the water. How's that for your admiralty law gurus out there?
For sure, and that's the mindset. I gotta go through the fire to get the the glory.
So I heard Eldon blurt out bankruptcy, and Aldo is well aware of his options in bankruptcy, because obviously he can even prepare a filing this evening if he wishes, and file it tomorrow if he wishes. But depending on what your actions are, it's never over. It's never over.
Yeah, no, and I'm sticking to what we discussed over the weekend.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Yeah, so we're going all the way with it.
All right. Well, gratitude, guys. Believe it or not, I am still in a moving vehicle, but it is currently parked, and we made it all the way through, even into overtime.
Yay!
Without me losing service or power. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being with us here today. And I hope you bring a friend or family member that's interested in learning how to stand up for themselves. It is one of the most exciting things that I've ever done. It's one of the most exciting opportunities, I believe, in our lifetime to learn how to do this, because it is the noise of we're all victims, the noise of look what the government is making us do.
When
Yeah, exactly. Look at, oh, we gotta act them all like nah. Come sit with us. Come sit with us. Okay, we've read who they can command, where that command is applicable, and all that stuff in in order to quell all of those unnecessary, unfounded fears. Okay. And so if you know a friend or family that's interested in all that, make sure you invite them to commune with us. And for those who have completed our As Above So Below series and submitted your notes to support at lawfulliving.com or support at freedomfromgovernment.org, we will be together again, hopefully on Thursday and perhaps even Friday. So until next time, guys, peace and courage.
Peace.
Oh.
Peace.
Peace, love. Appreciate
Peace.
y'all.
Love you. Love you, man.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.
Hassan,
And
she
so,
made you host. She didn't just,
Oh,
she
okay. I
left the
haven't
call, but
do
she
that.
didn't end the meeting.
Okay, I got it. Okay, got you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.